guys, I am Crochet by Jessie and welcome to week 2 of my Christmas Mosaic Crochet Along, which I am so excited to share with you guys. This is what we got up to in week 1, so it is the Christmas tree pattern swatch. If you have not seen this crochet along yet, I recommend going back to my introductory video as well as this first video. But in today's video, what we are going to be doing is making a candy cane. So like last week, there is going to be a pattern. I'm going to have that linked in the description so you can get yourself a copy to use alongside this tutorial if you would like to. But we're going to be making this swatch. I'm looking forward to it because it's a little bit different. We've got obviously some different colour changes, but it's still a very nice beginner friendly mosaic crochet pattern for you guys to follow. For all of you guys that aren't aware already, we are going to be doing this update weekly. So next week there will be a new pattern and this will happen up until about the 18th of December. And then from that point, you'll have time to then assemble your crocheted piece. But enough of that, let us get into this tutorial. For this tutorial, we're going to need this pattern chart. I've got green yarn first of all. I have got white yarn. And my final colour I've got is red because I'm doing quite a traditional granny square for this pattern swatch. You'll also need a pair of scissors and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook again. When having a look at this chart, you will see there are 20 stitches going across, including the first and last, which is the single crochet that you learned about last week. So we're going to be starting with green as our background colour. You'll do your slip knot as we always do when we start the project, and we're going to start by chaining a total of 20 times. The reason we're doing that is because we're doing one chain for each of the boxes / squares for the actual pattern swatch. And then once you've done the 20, we're going to do an extra chain because we will skip that when we start our single crochet row. So we've done our 20. We're going to add that extra one and then we're going to skip it and then do our 20 single crochet for this first row. I've chosen to use green for the background of my candy cane swatch just because I want a little bit of a cohesive colourway for my overall project, and I used the same white and green for my Christmas tree swatch that we did last week, so I just figured it'd be good to use the same colours and then incorporate a few new things, and such as the red. So the red is new for this specific swatch, but you'll see me use this colour a lot more for the next few weeks of patterns as well. I also don't know what I actually did with my yarn at this stage. I was causing a bit of chaos, but I was still just about able to pull the yarn from the centre. So we've just got a few more single crochet to finish off for this row. And once we get to this last one, which we're nearly there, okay, one last single crochet and then do a chain, but then cut your yarn and just pull through the loop. And that is our first row finished. Now that the first row is done and looking like this, it's time to start row 2, which you'll see is using the white yarn. And it's still a row of single crochet, so that is exactly what we are going to do. I've got my white yarn ready, and what we're going to do is start by doing a single crochet into the front and back loop. You'll see we did that in the previous video, but this is going to be a trend that we're going to do for the whole of the swatch for the first and last stitch. So our single crochet in the front and back loop, and then we're just going to go across the next 18 stitches with single crochet into the back loop only. We're doing this just because it helps with the setup for our future rows, because if we went through both of the loops, there would be no possible spaces for the double crochet to drop down into. I will also say now that there are going to be a lot of very similar row repeats for this pattern. As you can see at the bottom of the candy cane, there's not that many specific changes besides colourway changes, so it will be a bit repetitive, but the results are so pretty that it really is just worth it. I also like that I kept with a fairly traditional colourway just because I do like quite a classic Christmas project. So this is going to be a very nice project that I'm going to try and put into a throw, but we'll see how that goes. So we're just finishing up our last few single crochet, and then the final stitch we're going to do what we did at the start, and we're going to do the single crochet into the front and back loop. And then once we've done that, we're going to do our chain, cut the yarn and just pull straight through, and that is going to be the end of row 2, and this is how it is looking. So row 2 is done, we're back onto 3, which is green again, and you will see that we've got a row of double crochet, so that is what we're going to do for row 3. I'll get the green yarn and we'll start in the exact same way we always do, so single crochet into the front and back loop of that first stitch. And then once you have done that, we're going to be dropping down into that first row of green, and we'll be going into the front loops of the stitches. So we'll see dropping down when I can, and then going into that front loop which was left there. And we're just going to go across, and we're going to do that for 18 stitches. So there'll be 18 double crochet in total for this row. I really like this swatch in particular because it feels very quickly done. I don't know how to say it because I know it still takes the same kind of amount of time as the Christmas tree, but for some reason I feel like the progress feels quicker for this one. And just in general, doing the swatches of this size, I feel like it's really good for projects because it's like manageable bite-sized pieces that you're doing whenever you can and as often as you can. And because of that, I feel like it's fun because you can then control how big your project's going to be, and as well as just choosing the colours and the themes that you want as well, because you do not have to stick to traditional colourways like I do. But I do like traditional colours, so that's what I chose to do. And we're nearly getting to the end. We just have a few more double crochets left to do, and we're doing what we usually do. We're basically erasing that first row of the white yarn, but it's just a part of the setup for the swatches that I like to do. Okay, final double crochet, and then once this is done, we're going to be doing the single crochet into that front and back loop of that final stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, cut the yarn and then pull through. And that is the end of row 3, and this is how it is looking so far. We've just finished row 3, so it's now time for row 4. You'll see we're going back to the white yarn, and it is still a row of blank squares, so that is going to be another row of single crochet back loop only. So setting up with that first stitch, it is a single crochet into the front and back loop because we always do that in the start and the end of the row. And then once we have done this, when I can do it, that is, there we are, we're then going to do 18 single crochet into the back loop only, and that is what you're doing for row 4. From this point onwards, once this row is done, that is when you're really going to start to see the actual candy cane develop, because we've just been building up the background colour just to make sure that the overall swatch does look like quite nice and even, because I personally really like having like a slight border with the pattern swatches that I do. So I always enjoy the setup rows like this and then the final few rows, just to make sure that we've got enough of the background colour on either side. And we're just going to continue doing the same thing. This is the last time in a while that we're just going to have rows where you're just doing the exact same stitch for the whole row, so that's not going to be consistently happening from this stage. But even now, I really appreciate how the green and the white yarn looks together. You can probably see in the camera just a little bit that the white yarn is sparkly, and it looks so good in person, and I just thought, now I know what I'm going to use this yarn for. So we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop for the last stitch, chain, cut the yarn and pull through, and that is the end of row 4. Now that row 4 is done, we're going to be going on to row 5, which is in the green again. We've got 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet back loop only, and then 10 double crochet. So that is what we are going to do. So I've got my green yarn again. We're going to be going into that first single crochet with the front and back loop, and then we're going to be doing our single crochet into that space. Once that is done, we're going to do 2 double crochet to start, so we're dropping down into that previous row of the green. And then we're doing 6 single crochet into the back loop only. So this is the base of the candy cane that we are starting. So you're finally seeing the beginning of the candy cane for this pattern swatch. And now that we've done that, we're going to be doing 10 double crochet where we're dropping down into that previous row of green. And this is going to take us to that last stitch. you guys are going to see a little bit of a pattern starting here where there's more of the green background colour on the left hand side, and then the right hand is where the candy cane is going to be focused on before it then becomes the prominent feature on just the top half of the pattern swatch. So we've just got a few more double crochet that we're going to be doing, and then we're going to get to that final stitch. So we've got 2 more there. So 1 and 2. And once this is done, we're then going to go into the front and back loop of that final stitch and do our single crochet to finish. We're going to chain 1, cut the yarn and pull it through. And that is row 5 done. And you can now see the candy cane detail. So we've just done row 5 and now it's time for row 6. You'll see 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, and then 10 single crochet. This is essentially the reverse of the previous row. We're going to be using the white yarn again, and we're going to go into our first stitch into the front and back loop to do our single crochet that we always do. And then once I do that, we're going to start off and then do 2 single crochet into the back loop only. We are doing this just because we're still focusing on the green background right on the right hand side. We're then going to do 6 double crochet where we're dropping down into the front loop that was left with the white yarn. So this is going to be the base and the first stripe in white. So there's going to be a bit of a colour change in the next few rows. So we'll just finish up this section. So we've got 2 more double crochet left to do. And that's done. And then we're going to be doing 10 single crochet into the back loop only. And then once we've done those 10 single crochets, we have the final single crochet that you do the front and back loop, like always. I don't know about you guys, but I'm already really excited for this crochet along because we're on to the second pattern tutorial. I'm going to be releasing a few more patterns in the next week as well, which won't have a video tutorial because they're slightly larger swatches, but I'm really starting to see progress already, which is so fun. Just finishing up the row, so we're doing the single crochet into the front and back loop, chain, cut your yarn and then pull straight through, and then that is the end of row 6. Row 6 is done. This row here, we're on to row 7, which is the green again, 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 10 double crochet. So we're repeating that same process from the 2 rows prior. We're starting off with our single crochet into the front and back loop. We're then doing our 2 double crochets where we're dropping down to that previous row of green. And then once this is done, we're doing our 6 single crochet back loop only. So we're just going across the top of the candy cane for this. And I'm really excited because the next row is going to have a colour change. So we're just finishing up number 6 of the single crochet now. We're then going to drop down and do 10 double crochets where we're going down to that previous row of green. And now we're just finishing the row up. We're nearly there. We're looking at the candy cane and it's looking a lot more obvious now. And it will be even more so with the next row. Oh, and then I'll just mess up there a little bit, but that's fine. So last double crochet and then the single crochet into the front and back loop for the final stitch. You're going to then chain, cut your yarn and pull right through. And that is the end of row 7. And row 8 is going to be where it starts to get really, really fun. So we've done row 7, but we're on to row 8 and you'll see we've got a colour change. So we're using red. We're doing 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 10 single crochet this time using this red yarn. I love how all of these colours look together, so I'm so excited. We're going to go into the front and back loop and do our single crochet as we always do. And then once we've done that, we're doing 2 single crochet into the back loop only. And then we're going to do 6 double crochet. So we're dropping down into that previous row of white, and we're starting our candy cane colour change for the stripe effect. And I'm so excited. I love how this looks, and the more you do, the better it looks with a swatch. Honestly, it works up so nicely. So we're just finishing that. Then we're going to do our 10 single crochet into the back loop only. What I love about this pattern is you've got colour changes in the detail of it, but you're not changing colours during the row, so it is still completely beginner friendly, but it looks a lot fancier and more out there, which I just think is so fun. So we've just got a few more single crochets to do for this row. And then once we get to this last one, we're then going to go into the front and back loop, do our single crochet, chain, cut the yarn and pull it right through. And that is the end of row 8. And just look how good it's looking. So row 8 is done. We're back onto green for row 9, 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, and then 10 double crochet. So we're repeating that same process that we are basically just doing whilst alternating the colours. This is going to be a little bit samey, but it is going to have really good results. So we're going to go into the front and back loop for our first stitch and start with our single crochet. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets, so going down into that previous row of green. We're then going to do the 6 single crochet into the back loop only, just going along the top of the candy cane. And then we're just coming to the end of that. And once we've done those 6 single crochet, we're going to do 10 double crochet where we drop down to that previous row of green and we go into each of the front loops that we have left available to use. So although this is quite repetitive for the next few stages of the pattern, you really are going to see the detailing of the candy cane develop, and I just think that makes it so worth it, and it just keeps it from feeling a bit too monotonous because you're changing the colours quite a lot. So we just have a few more double crochets to do for this row. And then once we finish our last one, which is this one here, we're then going to do the single crochet into the front and back loop. And then we're going to chain, cut our yarn off and pull through. And then that is the end of row 9. Row 9 is done. So you'll see we had the green. We're now going back to the white yarn and we're doing 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, and then 10 single crochet. So we'll get our white yarn that we're using. I do love again that I chose sparkly white yarn for this. It just looks so good with the actual swatches done and then together. So single crochet into the front and back loop for this first stitch. And then once that is done, 2 single crochets into the back loop only. Then we're going to drop down and do our 6 double crochet going into the front loop of the red. So this is the 3rd colour change for our candy cane with the striped effect, and it's already looking so good. Like, it's such an easy thing to do, but I feel like it's so effective. So we're just finishing that up now. The final double crochet is this one here, and then 10 single crochet into the back loop only for the rest of this row before we get to that final stitch that we're doing into the front and back loop. How would you guys say you are finding this crochet along so far? I've been really trying to make sure that I am doing patterns that aren't too complicated, which still have really amazing results. So please do let me know in the comments below how you are finding it. We just have a few more of our single crochet back loop only to do. So we've got the last one here, and then we're going to go into the front and back loop for this final stitch, do our single crochet, chain 1, cut the yarn and then just pull it straight through, and then that is the end of row 10. So now that row 10 is done and looking like this, it's time to start having a look at row 11. So row 11's in green again. We've got 2 double crochets, 6 single crochets, and then 10 double crochets again. And we've got our green yarn to start with, and we're going to join in the same way that we always do by doing a single crochet into the front and back loop. Once that's done, we're going to be doing our 2 double crochets where we drop down to that previous row of green and go into the front loop that's been left. if I can do it right. There we are. And then we're going to do 6 single crochet into the back loop only, just going along the top of the candy cane. And we're nearly done with that. And then once this is done, it's going to be 10 double crochet where we're dropping down into that front loop of the previous row of green again. Have you guys decided what you would like to do with your crochet along final pieces? I think I'm going to keep mine for myself, to be completely honest, because I don't actually have many Christmas crochet related items myself. So I'm definitely going to keep my one, but do you guys think you're going to keep it for yourself? Are you going to gift it? Is it going to be a Christmas present? So let me know in the comments what you are going to do. Just doing that last double crochet and then work the single crochet into the front and back loop as your final stitch. You're going to chain, cut your yarn and pull straight through, and then that is the end of row 11, and this is how it's looking. So we just finished row 11 and now it's time for row 12. So we're going to grab the red yarn, we're doing 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet and then 10 single crochet. So we need to grab that red yarn. I love changing the colour every row basically. It just feels so fun, and just having a little stripe effect alongside the background is just really exciting. So we'll do our single crochet into the front and back loop. We're then going to do 2 single crochet in the back loop only. And then once that's done, we're doing 6 double crochet, dropping down into that front loop with the white yarn. And then at this stage, I really feel like you can start to tell that it is a candy cane that we're making, which is always a good sign. So we're just finishing up these double crochets. We've got this last one, and then we're going to work 10 single crochets into the back loop only. I would actually say that it's so fun that each swatch is just so different with this crochet along, because it has a different vibe. So this feels so different to when I was crocheting the Christmas tree. Okay, so single crochet into the front and back loop for this last one, chain, cut the yarn and pull it through, and then that is the end of row 12. So we're making progress. Row 12 is done and looking like this. We just used the red yarn and we're now using the green. So we're going to do 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet and then 10 double crochet. It really is quite repetitive, but I feel like you're kept sane with all of these color changes. We're starting off by doing our single crochet into the front and back loop for the first stitch, then 2 double crochets dropping down to that previous row of green. And once that's done, we're going to be doing our 6 single crochet into the back loop only, going along the top of the candy cane. And then once you get to the end of this, we're doing our 10 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. We're doing that for the rest of the row until we get to our final stitch. So we've just got this double crochet and this next one that we are working on, and then we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop. We're going to chain 1, cut our yarn and pull straight through, and then that is row 13 done. We're now on to row 14 after just finishing 13. In white yarn we do 2 single crochet, we do 6 double crochet, and then we do 10 single crochet. I always like using this yarn the most. This is the row that I get excited for because I just love the sparkly yarn. So we're doing our single crochet into the front and back loop when I can actually get it done right. And then once this is done, we're doing 2 single crochet into the back loop only. The next step after that is to do 6 double crochet. We're dropping down and we're going to go into that front loop of the red row. And then once we've done that, we've got 10 single crochet into the back loop that we're going to do for the rest of this section. At this stage, we are not quite halfway there, but we are getting there. So we're with a few more rows and we'll be close to the halfway mark. And we're going to do the front and back loop for our final single crochet. We will, oh, yet again, I'm having a moment with my hook. We're going to do a chain 1, cut the yarn, pull it straight through, and then that is the end of row 14. So row 14 is done. We're now on to row 15 in green. We're doing 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, and then 10 double crochet for this next one. So we are going to use our green yarn, and then the first thing we are going to do, as always, is we're working that single crochet into the front and back loop of that first stitch. And then once that's done, we're doing our 2 double crochet, dropping down to that previous row of green. And then once that is done, we're doing our 6 single crochet in the back loop only, just going across the top of the candy cane again. After that, we're nearly at the end of this part, and then we're going to be doing our 10 double crochet, dropping down into that green front loop of the previous row of green. Just finishing up our final double crochet, and then we're doing our single crochet front and back loop. We're going to chain, we're going to cut our yarn, and we're going to pull right through, and then that is the end of row 15, and this is how it's looking. So row 15, this row here is done. Time for row 16. We're using the red yarn. We've got 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 10 single crochet for this row. First things first, we're going to be doing our single crochet into the front and back loop. I keep having a moment with this first stitch in this tutorial, so do excuse me, guys. Genuinely, what am I doing? So we're doing that first stitch, and then we're going to be doing 2 single crochet into the back loop only for this next part. And then we're going to be doing 6 double crochet, dropping down into that front loop of the white yarn. We just have this 1 double crochet left to do, and then we're now going to be doing 10 single crochet into the back loop only. And after a few more rows of this, guys, we're going to start to do the latter point of the candy cane detailing, which is just the curve at the top, which is going to look so good. And I've already seen my finished result, and you guys will be so happy with how it develops. So we've just got a few more of these single crochet back loop only, 1 more of them, and then single crochet front and back loop for this final stitch. We're then going to chain 1, cut our yarn and put it through. And that is the end of row 16. Now is time for row 17. So we're going to be using the green again. We've got 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, and then 10 double crochet for this row. We're going to start off with our single crochet into the front and back loop only. And then once we've done that, we've got our 2 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. And then once we have done that section, we're then going to be doing 6 single crochet into the back loop only, just going across the top of the candy cane. And then as we are coming to the end of that, we're going to be doing 10 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. I have decided that I'm definitely wanting to do a Christmas throw for this project. I'm probably going to have to make maybe 4 or 5 of each of the pattern swatches. We're going to see how it goes, but I feel like it's a little bit more manageable because it is those smaller doses of swatches instead of a giant project that you are adding to very slowly. Okay, finishing this final double crochet, we're doing our single crochet into the front and back loop, chain, cut the yarn and pull straight through, and then that is the end of row number 17. We're on to row 18 and it is using my favourite of the colours. We're using the sparkly white yarn again. We've got 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 10 single crochet for this row. First things first, we're doing our single crochet into the front and back loop. We're then doing 2 single crochet into the back loop only, and then 6 double crochet dropping down into that row of red. We're just finishing up this last double crochet, and then we're doing 10 single crochet into the back loop only. I'm very excited for Christmas this year as my household is hosting and my family are all crocheters, so I can't wait for them to see this throw when it is done because I know they will love it. So we've just got the final single crochet in the front and back loop. We're going to chain, cut the yarn and pull it through, and then that is the end of row 18. We're on to row 19 now, and this is where in the next few rows we're going to see a slight change. So we're using the green yarn, we're doing 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 10 double crochet. But then after this, we're going to start to see a bit of a change in the pattern, so stay tuned, it's going to be cool. We're going to start off by doing our single crochet front and back loop, and then our double crochet into the green of the previous row, and we're doing 2 of them. We're going to do 6 single crochet going across the top of the back loop only of the candy cane. And then once we have done this, we're going to get back to our next big chunk of double crochet. So we're going to do 10 double crochets dropping down to that previous row of green. And it's actually the last time we're doing this for a little while because we are going to be doing a few changes within the next few rows of this pattern, which I'm very excited for. So we just have a few more double crochets left for this row. We're on to the last one now. And then you're going to do your single crochet into the front and back loop for this final stitch. Chain 1, cut the yarn and pull through, and that is the end of row number 19. 19 is done. We're now on to row 20, guys. We're going to use the red yarn. It's 2 single crochet to start, 6 double crochet, and then 10 single crochet. Now that was a faff, but we are going to be doing our single crochet into the front and back loop to start off. We're then going to do 2 single crochet back loop only, and then 6 double crochet dropping down to that previous row of white. And we'll just finish this little section of double crochets now in the final one, and then we're doing 10 single crochets into the back loop only for the rest of this row up until we get to that last stitch. Okay, final stitch, we're going into the front and back loop, doing our single crochet, chaining and then cutting our yarn. We're going to pull that through, and then that is the end of row number 20. We are now on to row number 21, and guys, this is where things are going to change. So we're going to be using the green yarn and things are going to differ. We're going to do 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet. So we're changing things a lot. We're going to start doing our single crochet into the front and back loop. And then once this is done, we're going to be doing 2 double crochet, so dropping down to that previous row of green. We're then going to be doing our 6 single crochet into the back loop only, just going along the top of the candy cane. And then once we've done that, we're only going to be doing 2 double crochets. So 2 double crochets dropping down into the green. And we're starting to work up the other side of the candy cane now. So we're then going to do 6 double crochet back loop only. And we're really going to be finalising just the overall design within the next few rows. So we're just going to do those 6 single crochet back loop only. We're then going to do 2 double crochets, dropping down into that previous row of green. And then we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop. We're going to chain, cut the yarn and pull through, and then that is the end of row 21, and look at what we've done already. We're on to row 22, guys, and we're going to be using my favourite colour again, the sparkly white yarn. We're going to do 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet. So it's a bit repetitive, but you'll see what we mean. So we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop to start this off. And then we're going to do our 2 single crochet back loop only. And then once that is done, our 6 double crochet dropping down into that previous row of red. So we'll just finish up this section with the last few double crochets we have left to do. And then once this is done, we're doing 2 single crochet back loop only. And then once that's done, we're dropping down and doing 6 more double crochet into that little red section that we left revealed in the previous row. And this is the other side of the candy cane, which will soon be joined together by the time the design is done. So once we have finished this section of double crochet, we have 2 single crochet back loop only to do. And we'll just get that done, and once this is done, we're just going to be doing our single crochet into the front and back loop. That is the last stitch for this row. We're going to chain 1, cut the yarn and then pull through, and that is the end for row 22. We're now on to row 23, guys. So we're using the green yarn, we're doing 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet. So we'll get that started by doing our single crochet into the front and back loop. Now it's time to do 2 double crochets, dropping down to that previous row of green. And once that is done, we're going to then do 6 single crochet, just going into the back loop only across the top of the candy cane. And then next we're going to do 2 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. And then back to the single crochet for 6 stitches into the back loop only again. Next we're going to be doing our 2 double crochets, dropping down to that previous row of green. And then we're going to work a single crochet into the front and back loop of this final stitch. We're going to chain 1, cut the yarn and pull through, and then that is the end for row 23. Row 23 is done, and now it's time for row 24. We're using the red yarn, and it's going to be 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet. We're going to start off by doing our single crochet into the front and back loop for the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the back loop only for the next stitches. We're then going to do 6 double crochet, dropping down into that row of the white yarn. And as we are coming to the end of that, you're going to see a little bit of a repeat that we are doing. So we're going to do 2 single crochet back loop only. And then we're going to do 6 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of white again. So we're just finishing up this cluster of 6 double crochet, and then once we finish this last one here, we're going to be doing our 2 single crochet back loop only. Then we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop for the final stitch, chain our yarn, cut it off and then pull it all the way through, and then that is the end of row 24. We're now on to row 25, and within the next 3 rows we're going to have a few exciting things happen, but we're using the green yarn. We're doing 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet, 6 single crochet, 2 double crochet, and we'll start it off by doing the single crochet into the front and back loop only of that first stitch. So first thing we're doing is 2 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green, and then 6 single crochet working into the back loop only along the top of the candy cane. I've been having such a battle as well with my hook this video, so sorry guys, no clue what I've been doing. So we're just going to continue with those single crochets going across the top. Once we've done the 6, we're dropping down and doing 2 double crochet to that previous row of green. Then we're back to the single crochet, doing 6 into the back loop only again. Once that is done, we're doing our 2 double crochet, dropping down to the previous row of green. And then we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop for this final stitch. Chain, cut the yarn and then pull through. And then that is the end of row 25. Row 25 is done, and now we're on to row 26. We're using the white yarn again. We're doing 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 2 single crochet. So we'll start that off by doing the single crochet into the front and back loop of the first stitch. Once that is done, we're going to be doing 2 single crochet into the back loop only. We're then going to do 6 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of the red yarn. What we are going to do once that is done is 2 more single crochet into the back loop only. And we'll just start that now. So 2 single crochet back loop only. And then after we've done that, we're doing 6 more double crochet, dropping down to that previous row of red. So we're just finishing up the last double crochet now. We're going to do 2 single crochets into the back loop next, and then we're going to do our final stitch, the single crochet into the front and back loop now. You're then going to chain 1, cut your yarn and pull it through, and then that is the end of row number 26, and this is how it's looking. Row number 27, we're changing things up again. We're using the green yarn. We're doing 2 double crochet, 14 single crochet, and then 2 double crochet. So it's changing things up, and this is because we're starting to join the 2 points of the design together. So we're going to start off with our green yarn, doing the single crochet into the front and back loop. Ignore what I do next because I have a silly moment and start doing a single crochet when I'm not meant to. So I'll just get rid of that now when I realise I've made my mistake. So 2 double crochet, dropping down to that previous row of green. And then once I've done that, it's going to be 6 single crochet just going across the top of the white in the back loop only. Do not forget, we are not doing double crochet into the next stitch here. We're going to continue just going across because we are joining the top of our candy cane together. We just have a few more stitches. We're doing the single crochet into the back loop 4. We're now dropping down and doing 2 double crochets into that previous row of green. And then once that's done, we're doing our single crochet front and back loop for the final stitch. We're then going to chain, cut our yarn, pull through, and then that is the end of row number 27. We're now onto row number 28 using the red yarn. You're going to do 2 single crochet, 14 double crochet, and then 2 single crochet for this row. We're doing our single crochet front and back loop for the first stitch, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet back loop only, then 14 double crochets going across the top of the white stitches that have been left exposed. And this is when we're really just joining the top of the candy cane together, so there's not too many rows of the candy cane left. We just have a few more of the double crochet left to do for this row. I get my hand so close to the camera at this stage as well. Sorry guys, having a little moment. And then 2 single crochet back loop only. A single crochet into the front and back loop of the final stitch. We're then going to do a chain, cut our yarn and pull it through. And then that is the end of row number 28. We're now onto row number 29. We're using the green yarn, and it's going to be 2 double crochet, 14 single crochet, 2 double crochet for this row. So we're going to start by doing our single crochet into the front and back loop of that first stitch. And then once that's done, we're doing 2 double crochet, just dropping down to those first 2 stitches. And then after this is done, we're doing 14 single crochet back loop only, just going across the top of the candy cane in the red. We really do not have that much left to do, guys. We're on row number 29 out of 35. So we've done the vast majority. We only have a few more rows of the candy cane, and then we're just doing the rest of the background just to make sure that the actual swatch overall is even color-wise. Have this last single crochet, and then we're doing 2 double crochet, dropping down to that previous row of green. Once this is done, we're going to do our single crochet into the front and back loop for the final stitch. We're then going to chain 1, cut the yarn and pull it through, and then that is the end of row number 29 for us. 6 left to go. We're on to row number 30 using the white yarn, and we are doing 4 single crochet, 10 double crochet, 4 single crochet for this row. We're doing our single crochet front and back loop now, 4 single crochet back loop only after that. And then once that is done, we're going to be doing 10 double crochet, dropping down into that row of red. After this row of white is done, we have one more row using the red, and then our candy cane is done. So we are getting so close to the end now, guys. So we just got our last few double crochet left, and then we're going to do our 4 single crochet back loop only, starting now. And then once these 4 are done, we're going to be doing what we always do into our last stitch. So we're doing our single crochet front and back loop. If I can do it, there we are. Chain 1, cut your yarn off and pull through, and then that is the end of row number 30. We're on to row number 31 now using green. We have 4 double crochet, 10 single crochet, and then 4 double crochet for this row. We'll do our single crochet front and back loop to start, and then our 4 double crochets dropping down to that previous row of green. And then once that is done, you're then going to be doing the 10 single crochet back loop only, just going across the top of the candy cane. And yeah, we're really nearly done, guys. There is so not much left to do. It's going to be done very, very shortly. So nearly finished with the single crochet. We're now going to do 4 double crochet, dropping down to that previous row of green. And then once this is done, we're doing our single crochet front and back loop. And then we're going to do a chain, cut the yarn, and then pull it through. And then that is the end of row number 31. We're on to row number 32, guys, using the colour red. We're going to do 6 single crochet, 6 double crochet, 6 single crochet for this row. And it's the last row of colour for the candy cane design. So once this is done, we're just going to be doing the detailing for the background. So single crochet into the front and back loop. I'm having another moment again. Honestly, something's going on with me whilst I'm filming this today. So single crochet front and back loop. We're then going to do our 6 single crochet back loop only. So we're just finishing that up now, and then we're doing our 6 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of the white. And this is the top of the candy cane. So after this, we're just going to be showing off the green, and then we are done. The final double crochet is done. Now we're doing our 6 single crochet back loop only again. And then once we have done this, we're going to be doing our final stitch, which as always is the single crochet front and back loop only. Then chain 1, cut the yarn and pull through, and that is the end of row number 32. We're now on to row number 33 using green. It's going to be 6 double crochet, 6 single crochet, and then 6 double crochet. So we're going to start that off by doing our single crochet front and back loop just for the first stitch. So we're just finishing our single crochet in the front and back loop. We're then doing 6 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. And then once we finish up this little section, we're then doing 6 single crochet into the back loop only, just going across the top of the candy cane. And we'll just finish that up, and we're working the double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green, and we're doing that 6 times as well. We're just finishing up the last of the double crochet, and then what we're going to do is a single crochet front and back loop. We're going to do our single crochet, chain, cut the yarn and pull it through, and then that is the end of row number 33. We're on to row number 34, and guys, it's pretty easy. We're just doing one row, the entirety of the row, 18 single crochet into the back loop only. And the reason we're doing this is just because we don't actually want to see the white, we're just building up on the green of the background on the top. So this is going to be hidden behind. We'll do our single crochet into the front and back loop. And then after that, we're just working our single crochet into the back loop only. So we're doing this for the rest of the row, and guys, we have one more row after this. How crazy is that? This has gone by very, very quickly. Do let me know if there are any designs you guys would love to see during this crochet along. I will try my best, but at the end of the day, I do want these to be as beginner friendly as possible. So if there's anything too complex, then maybe I will consider it for a future Christmas crochet along. But yeah, just let me know what you would like to see and I will do my best. Okay, final stitch, front and back loop only, single crochet, chain 1, cut the yarn and pull it through, and that is the end of row number 34, and this is how it's looking. We're on to row number 35, the final row. We're using green and it's just a row of double crochet, so 18 double crochet. So first things first, we're going to get our green yarn and we're going to do the single crochet into the front and back loop for the first stitch. We're then going to do our 18 double crochet, dropping down into that previous row of green. And this is literally the last row, guys. It's taken a little bit longer than the Christmas tree, I will admit, but honestly, I do feel like it's worth it because the results are just so good with this design. It looks quite fancy, pretty complex and complicated, but as you guys have just seen and we've just done it ourselves, it really isn't that bad to do, but just looks amazing. I have a feeling that this candy cane pattern is going to be a favourite for the crochet along. It is for me personally, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of people will like this, or at least I hope so, so we shall see. We're just finishing up the last of the double crochets, and then we're doing our single crochet into the front and back loop for the final stitch. Do a chain, cut the yarn and pull it through. That is the end of row number 35 and that is the end of the whole swatch. That is this week's crochet along video done. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. And you should have a candy cane like this, fingers crossed. Now that is it for the tutorial, guys. By this stage you should hopefully have something somewhat similar to this. I'm very aware I've gone for very traditional colours because, to be honest, I think they look good together, so I'm happy with them. But yeah, there's loads of different colourways that you can do for it. Do let me know what colourways you guys have gone for, because I feel like it's just so fun to see how people make the same project just unique to themselves. So yeah, do let me know in the comments below. But if you want to keep up to date with this crochet along, then please do subscribe to this channel, as well as hitting the bell to be notified when the next video is up, because we don't want you guys missing on one of the weeks of patterns and then falling behind. So thank you so much for joining. I will see you next time.